Hello, and welcome back to the Reiki Gem Wellness channel. This is the next episode of Let's Talk Crystals. For those who are new to my channel and haven't watched these before, my name is Shannon, and I'm a certified Reiki master and teacher and a certified gemologist, and I combine those skills and passions to provide you with the knowledge, the tools, and the opportunities to practice incorporating crystal healing into your everyday life. And these videos, Let's Talk Crystals, are more conversational, they're unscripted, and their intention is to answer your questions about crystal and gemstone healing, and for me to provide you with some examples of how I've used crystals and gemstones in my life during the week. I think that's really important in helping people figure out, what can I do with these gemstones that I've collected? How can they help me? How can I figure out when I need them or how to use them? That's the intention of these specific videos. And they're unedited, so I may seem a little bit more rambly or take a pause to think, or like in the last episode, I have to grab a crystal to help me focus. That happens. Channel updates. I just started re-releasing some updated versions of some of the older videos. Like the first 10 videos I filmed on an iPhone with just a little lapel mic, and the audio quality is poor. And I've been reading the comments and acknowledging the comments, and I've been waiting for YouTube to incorporate or to bring back some of those audio editing abilities that used to be there to increase the volume. But they've implemented this volume normalization, and it has caused many of the videos that I originally uploaded that sound normal to me on my computer it's decreased the volume. There's nothing I can do about the existing videos, but I am taking those first 10 and I'm remastering them, boosting up the audio, and releasing them again. So in the original videos, there will be links to the new videos. I can't take the old ones down because that does affect my channel, but I can point to the new ones. So you can rewatch some of the classic videos with better volume, and I hope that helps. I just got back from vacation. Well, I got back a couple of days ago. It wasn't a full week of vacation. It was just a couple of days to get out of the house, go somewhere new, let the kids just have a couple of days of fun. And then we came back. I'm feeling much more relaxed, clear, because I spent a couple of days walking on the sand and smelling the air and putting my feet in the water and really connecting with the elements. So I've, just released a lot of that stress that had been building up out into the sand and water, and just rejuvenated my energy in general. And it was really wonderful. And some of the gemstones that helped me is Howlite, because I wanted to get some good sleep this week. And, while I'm on vacation, I needed that to help me recuperate, to help me get to sleep, stay asleep, sleep in, and Howlite really helps. So I brought this with me on vacation to help me relax, to help me calm down, and then to help me get some good sleep. And I also used it yesterday to help me to sleep in, and it really, I am feeling a lot more rested. So that helps a lot. And another stone that helped on vacation is Smoky Quartz. And recently, I've been working with another coach related to my book project. And she had some guided meditations about grounding and noticing how often our lives do we spend in a state of being versus in a state of doing. And in Western culture in particular, especially the United States, we're very doing oriented and type A personality with to-do lists and the need to be productive and get things done and pack as much into our day as possible. Do. That the times that we take just sitting and noticing our surroundings and just taking in what's happening, like just taking in a good meal or sitting and breathing the air or watching your kids play. There's not a lot of that in our days. I know I'm generalizing it, but it's just based on my own experience. And I know that ever since the pandemic started and my kids aren't going to school, that I've taken a lot more than I had planned. So there is just this sense of doing. And for one who tries to carve out time to meditate and sit and experience my life situations and my physical and emotional state of being, there still just isn't enough. And I took Smoky Quartz with me because it's a grounding stone, but it's a gentler one. It's soothing. So that when I was on vacation with my family, that I could just be, and not feel the need to do anything productive. Like get my exercise in by walking on the beach or whatever. That I could just sit in the moment and experience it. And that it helps so much. So I'm very grateful to my coach for that reminder, that chance to reflect and look at my life and see where I need to not gobble down my meal and then go do my chores, where I can really listen to my kids talking and telling me something rather than multitasking in my head. Because that, it helps. It changes the dynamic of your day so much. And changes the perspective of activities rather than I need to get this done, and just I am experiencing this. So Smoky Quartz. How much time during your days are you being? Are you just experiencing your day? You know, it's okay to sit and do nothing. It really is. It's okay to just sit and experience what's going on without having to do something. It really is okay. So the next stone that has helped me this week is Malachite. And I am going through a transition in my life. I think everybody has been going through a transition this year. But right now in particular, things are changing. I don't know where they're going to settle. And I'm trying to go with the flow and see where it takes me. And Malachite helps with that. It's the stone of transformation. And there are times in our life when we know that change needs to happen. And we can see what needs to change and direct ourselves towards the change. Or we can know that change needs to happen and that there are some things that we're doing along the way that will enable that change to happen, but we don't have a particular destination in mind. And that's the type of transition that I'm experiencing right now. And Malachite helps to help us accept that this change is happening. It helps us go through it without struggle or fighting against the current, to just go and not have that anxiety about what's going to be at the end of this. So if you have felt like that, if you are feeling like that, then malachite is a stone that can help you here. And when I use it, it's when I start to feel like I need to plan, or I'm feeling a little anxious about what's gonna be, then I just sit with it and, let it take the reins a little bit. So that was my week, but I am feeling really refreshed and so excited to be filming again, and glad to have a fixed computer again so that I can edit. So the question of the week, one that I've gotten so much, and I could actually spend like an hour-long video on this, is how do you store your crystals and gemstones? Is it okay to have them all together? Are they gonna contaminate each other's energies? And what are some examples on how you store your gemstones? So it depends on how many gemstones do you have. Do you have 5? Do you have 500? There are many different ways in which you can store them, but I'm going to focus on 2. Well, 2 scenarios. There are how you store the gemstones that you're actively using in your life, and then how you store the gemstones that you have collected but don't necessarily need right now. Because I have lots and lots of gemstones in my collection, surprise, that I don't necessarily need right now. But there are times when I realize I have a new situation in my life and I need to go looking through my stones to see which ones call to me now. Or ones that I used a lot, say last year, like Malachite and Bumblebee Jasper, that I'm not using so much now, so that they go off into the collection. So, gemstones that you are actively using, there could be 3 to 10, a handful of ones that you know that you need on a regular basis. You want to keep them near you. Like in the video last week, I had hematite right nearby when I needed it. That's how close you should have it. So somewhere in your common area, in your living space, you should keep your gemstones. So one thing that I recommend is that you can have a little altar where you have placed the gemstones that you want to use most often. Now, there are many, many ways to do this. It's totally up to your personal preference. You can have a little altar in which you place your most commonly used stones. I recommend having something like a selenite plate or satin spar, I know. Or like I have this big log, a plate, a sphere, something to keep with those gemstones that you most commonly use. You can keep them in a box. Now, this is an example of a box that I have used to keep some of my most commonly used gemstones. There's a nice little cushion inside, and I keep about 6 of them in here. And then I can carry this box with me if I'm going out to my workshop or my meditation area, or I want to keep it just by my desk at work. I have a means to carry my gemstones around. And it's a little bit bigger. I used to carry them in my Reiki box here, but I needed a bigger box. You could also carry them in a special bag. Like if you're going to carry some gemstones in your purse, say, because say you get overwhelmed in crowded situations and you want to carry blue calcite with you, or a couple of gemstones that you know that you can use situationally out in the world, you can put them in a special bag, put them in your purse, or carry them in your backpack, in your pocket, in a special bag. You could also then just fold them in a special cloth. Like if you have a really ornate silk cloth or a really soft one, then you can put your gemstones there and put them on a bookshelf where you can have them. So it's just important that you have the ones that you need when you need them. Is keeping two different gemstones near each other going to contaminate their energies? No, it's not. It's not. They're not going to affect each other. They're going to hold their own energies. The only ones that affect each other are the cleansing gemstones. Like if you keep white calcite with your other gemstones, it's going to keep them cleansed and refreshed. But you can keep different gemstones together. And when you need a particular one, you just pick that up and you sit with it and meditate with the intention that you want. Okay, so what do you do with all the other gemstones that you've collected that you may not be using right now? Well, a bookshelf is a really great option, or a little a knick-knack shelf. What are they called? Shadow boxes. Those are excellent as well. Make sure that you're dusting them off occasionally, because if you haven't used them in a while, they may gather some dust. Do not put them in a windowsill, because so many gemstones are sensitive to light and they will fade if they have constant sunlight on them all the time. So a bookshelf, a shadow box is useful. If you have a lot, let me cut the camera over to what I use for all my other gemstones. See that? This is a large storage container, and there's a couple more shelves down here that are red and orange and yellow. So the colors of the rainbow, and this is where I keep my white ones. I didn't have a clear or white shelf option in this, but I separate all of my gemstones based on color. And this is so, like all of the purple gemstones they all have a similar base intention or a support benefit. And so I just prefer to keep them together by color. Just personal preference. You could keep them all together and they will just be fine. But make sure if you're pulling one out of storage to use, that you cleanse it, you clear it, you charge it, and activate it. And I do have an article on my blog that talks about how to do that. Let me get back on my space. But when I release the Crystal Reiki video course, online course, I'm going to do a full module on clearing, cleansing, and activating gemstones with and without Reiki. I'll be including that in that module. So you'll get a really in-depth guide if you're interested in taking the Crystal Reiki course. All right, so that's how I store all of my crystals and gemstones. There are many other ways that I'm probably not thinking of. If you have jewelry, yes, you can store them all in the same jewelry box. It's totally fine as long as when you pull one out, say it's a satellite bracelet, that you're thinking about that intention of why you need it before you put it on. It sets that intention. And I think that's it for storing. But if you have any other questions about storing your gemstones, any other scenarios, if you have other ways that you personally store them, I've seen some great pictures on Instagram about how people store their gemstones, like in glass cases, in glass boxes. There's so many ways. You can get so much inspiration for how to store your crystals on Instagram. So anyway, this video is getting really long now, but I told you, like, storing crystals is a really big topic. There's a lot of different ways in which you can do it. It comes down to personal preference. So thanks so much for joining me today. Again, if you've been watching these, you love my Let's Talk Crystals episodes, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And I hope you have a really great week ahead. Thanks so much.